Hello friends, this is Peter Bain, co-founder of ForexMentor.com, and welcome to this special presentation. Now, the three musketeers involved in the S123 system, of course, our fearless leader, Lennox Chambers on the left, is the creator of the system that we're going to be talking about today. He's also the programmer behind the program that comes with the system. I love it. I use it. On the right, George Pitcher has been a Forex Mentor member since 2008. He is a trader. He's a programmer. He's done all the programming to introduce Lennox's program into MetaTrader 4. He's done all of the programming behind the alerts. He is a mentor and coach. You'll find him in the trading lounge from time to time. You'll also find Lennox, who's a trader, a mentor and coach, in the lounge as well from time to time. So, how did this all come about? Why are we here today? Let's go back in time to last year. Sometime last year, I attended a seminar in Victoria, which is where I live. I like to attend different seminars just to learn different things. And I like to move from table to table. I like to meet different people. And through the course of the seminar, I noticed that Lennox was one of the more active participants. So I thought, well, at some point during the seminar, I'm going to go over and sit by him and find out what he's all about. On the last day of the seminar, I did sit at his table, and through the course of our discussion, I learned that he was trading options. I mentioned I was into the Forex. I mentioned the profit potential, which seemed to attract his interest. He subsequently invited me over to his place to learn more about the Forex. I went over and in one evening taught him everything I knew about the Forex, although I wasn't able in one evening to cover all bases. I didn't get into broker selection. I didn't get into stop placement. I didn't get into how many lots to trade and so on and so forth. And when the evening was over, I figured, well, that's that. I don't know where he's going to go with this newfound information, so we'll just see what happens. Shortly thereafter, Lennox informed me that he opened a trading account with $5,000 at a broker which I don't particularly like, but of course I hadn't given him any directions. He, to his credit, picked a broker and went with that broker with $5,000, and within very short order he ramped that up to $30,000, and that really caught my attention for a number of reasons. I hadn't seen that done before for a novice trader to be that successful so quickly, and I'd never heard of anybody trading 10 standard lots. Most people start with micros or minis or whatever and then work their way up to 1 or 2 standard lots, but he jumped in with 10 standard lots. And when I queried him on that, he said, well, you didn't tell me how many lots to trade. And I figured, well, 10 sounded like a reasonable number, so he went with that. Pretty incredible. I contacted my business partner, Vic Young, who lives in Vancouver. I said, look, you got to come over and have a look at this guy and his system, because I like the system. More specifically, I like his program. And I'm intrigued by his results. So Vic came over, and he was equally impressed. One thing led to another. We decided that we had to get the word out about Lennox and his system and his calculator. The thing I liked most about his calculator was it enabled you to know where to get out of a trade. In other words, it told you where to get out of a trade and how many pips you were going to garner through a particular trade. So that's why we're here. We are now making Lennox's system and program available to our members, and we're going to talk about that today. Now, I should point out at the get-go that Lennox derives most of his income from trading. This is how he makes his living. So let's just have a look at some of his results. You'll see lots of green ink, very little red ink, and you'll see some pretty big numbers in here. For example, $15,000. That's trading 10 standard lots for that particular trade. He has since watered it down a bit to the point where he is trading 1, 2, 3 lots at a time, although he still trades 10 standard lots. Now, we're not encouraging you to do the same thing. What we're suggesting is that you start off even with micros or minis, but certainly work your way up to 1 or 2 or 3 standard lots. And if you feel so disposed, you can work your way all the way up to 10 standard lots if you so desire. So you can see his results here. Lots of green ink, very little red ink. Now, this is Lennox's My FX book. You can see his some of his trades on here. He focused on 1 or 2 lots. You can see in this column here. And interestingly enough, he has tweaked his trading strategy to focus on the major pairs. By major pairs, I mean a pair that has the USD in it. There's one exception here that I see, the Euro CHF, but for the most part, Lennox is focusing on pairs that contain the US dollar, and he's going to tell you shortly why that is. It's quite an intriguing revelation, something that he stumbled on recently, and it's really worthy of your attention. Now, here is Lennox's MyFX book since July. It's up 300%. He restarted his account with $5,000 July 3rd, 2018, over to the left. And you can see the steady progression up to where we are now. That's a 300% increase since July. That's quite phenomenal. And of course, trading 1 to 2 lots, which you can relate to. He still does trade 10 lots from time to time. Now let's have a look at some recent trades. These are real trades. These aren't contrived. The first trade netted Lennox $2,502. This was on the USDCHF. This is a 1-hour chart, and you can see the lot size here, 3 standard lots. Now, Lennox uses a system. He looks for a particular pattern. Here, he uses his wave calculator to not only show him possible retracements, but he also uses his calculator to give him the exit points, which you can see right here. The calculator is great. I love it. I swear by it. A team of wild donkeys couldn't pull it away from me. So Lennox is going to get into the nuts and bolts behind his system and his program shortly. So that's the first trade. The second one netted him $1,542, again using the same system that he uses. This was for 3 standard lots, and he looked for the same pattern down here, which he's going to talk to you about. His calculator showed him possible retracements. His calculator also showed him where price was probably going to go to, different jumping off points. Of course, the favorite jumping off spot is the end of wave 3, sort of like in the middle of the calculations. This was the Euro USD. So, marching on, here is another trade that netted Lennox $862. This was with 2 standard lots. You can see that down here at the bottom of your screen. Again, he looked for the same pattern. It's always the same pattern, and he teaches you to be looking only for this particular pattern, which he'll get into. Again, you can see the retracements figured out by his calculator, and you can see the exit points up here. Very powerful. The simplicity behind his system and his calculator is quite unique. So I'm now going to turn this over to Lennox and let you talk all about his great 123 system.
Okay, thank you, Peter. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the webinar, and let me just take control here. So I need to, okay, basically let me just go over what the 123 is first before I show my screen. In essence, as Peter just talked about, it's basically a pattern recognition system. So we're looking for a specific pattern. It's comprised of 3 points, and once we have identified that pattern on basically any time frame, really, but we concentrate mainly on the 1 hour, 4 hour charts for our purposes. Once we find that pattern, once we identify that pattern, we can then make a trade using the wave calculator to give us our targets, and we can enter either at market, or we can enter limit orders, or buy stops, sell stops, depending on what the situation is on the current chart that you're seeing. So, in a nutshell, it's a system that has a pattern that is recognizable at almost every turn in the market. It's just one pattern. You don't have to learn 5 or 6 or whatever different patterns. It's just one constant that you just have to understand and get to be able to identify it. And once you do, you're ready to go. Okay. So next screen, Peter. Let's see what. Okay, so I'm going to show you what I'm talking about, because of course you know, pictures are worth 1,000 words, I hear. So let me do that. So I will take control and show you what my screen here, and give you an idea what I'm talking about. So, okay, can we see me?
Yes.
CAD chart, and I'm on the monthly time frame in my live account. This is my FX book account, and what we have here is a monthly chart of the again of the U.S. Canadian dollar. And basically, what we are looking for is a specific pattern. Now, this pattern appears on any time frame. So once we see this pattern, this is what we're looking for, and once you identify it, then we can use our wave calculator to calculate where our targets are going to be, where retracement values are going to be, and make a decision to enter the trade if everything lines up. We use 2 indicators. Right now I have a clean chart. So the key thing about this particular pattern is that you don't need any indicators. So you can do it without any indicators whatsoever. However, we use 2 indicators, and one is moving average and the other is the MACD. And the only reason we use those indicators is to help you identify possible entry areas, more so than anything else. It's just to identify when the signal is for you to basically enter a position. So on the monthly time frame, the pattern is there, and the pattern is right here, currently on this chart. The pattern is also available up here on this chart, and also the pattern appears in in the middle of the chart. So a pattern is everywhere. It's just a matter of identifying the best setup to trade. The pattern is also over here. So again, it's a matter of identifying which one you want to trade. On the monthly, we don't really trade on the monthly, but we do top-down analysis in order to ascertain which time frame we're going to be trading on. So we go down to the weekly. Again, the pattern appears on this chart as well. We drop down to the daily. The pattern is there as well. And from the daily time frame, what we can do, we identify certain candle patterns. So we just do 2 or 3 candle patterns. We're looking for spinning tops, railway tracks, and pin bars to identify that a pattern is available for us on a lower time frame. So again, the pattern is all over the chart. It's just a matter of once you start to identify it and see it, you get used to it, and you'll be able to identify it very quickly. If I drop down to the 4-hour time frame, again, the pattern is there. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to show you real quickly how this kind of works. So this chart is clean. So what I'll do, I'll just I'll insert the wave calculator onto the chart. So this is basically what we do if we found a pattern. I'm going to put the auto wave calculator on because we have an auto wave calculator which automatically identifies the patterns for us, and you don't have to do anything manually. However, with the auto wave calculator, it gives us immediately our indicators, and we can decide whether we want the third one. The third one is, we use 2 of them primarily, which is the 5 and 21 EMAs. The black one here is a 55 EMA, which is not necessary. It's just used as a guide. And again, the auto one automatically pinpoints the calculations for us and does it automatically. So if I go back to one time frame, come back to this time frame, the auto wave calculator is automatically calculating for me where it thinks the pattern, it was called the 1, 2, 3 pattern. It calculates for me automatically where the 1, 2, 3 pattern is, gives me all the retracements, and so on. So it's very useful. I can come to the 1-hour time frame, and again, it does the same thing. If there is a 1, 2, 3, it'll pinpoint it for us and give us the targets, and gives us an area on the chart or a specific target that you can look to go to. So that's basically how that works. So let me, now I'll remove that indicator and just show you manually how that works as well, just real quick. So insert indicators and wave calculator. Okay, so with this one, it's a manual calculator. So if I went back to the 4-hour time frame, for instance, I would just click on the wave calculator, find my pattern that I'm looking for, which is again a 1, 2, 3, and we put in 1, 2, and 3, and it gives us targets, and we recommend, of course, that one of the targets to get out at, and that's basically what you do. And it's very, very straightforward. Again, it's just a matter of identifying that pattern, and once you get the understanding of how that works, this works out really beautifully. So at this point, with these retracement values that it gives us for between the number 1 and number 2 points, I can then determine whether I want to go in at market or I want to go with a limit order. I can do a sell limit at a specific retracement area, and so on. And then I can set my target for the first target, the second, third, or if I feel like that it's going to go longer or lower in this case, I could set my targets for this area. So it all works out very nicely. I can drop down to lower time frames to identify more current patterns and do the same kind of thing. So I can come down here. The pattern, again, is there for me. I can just do that, and again, it will pinpoint for me targets down to this level. So I can go on any time frame. I can go down to 15-minute time frame, and the same thing holds. if I can see the pattern, I can identify the pattern, I can use the calculator to give me my targets and so forth. So again, we recommend 1 hour, 4 hour time frames mainly to play on because we find that those two time frames work the best for the system. And so that's basically how that works in a nutshell. And the only other thing I'm missing on the chart are the moving averages. So in this case, I would insert the 5 and 21, and that basically gives me a crossover, and then I insert the MACD indicator, which also gives me a crossover. So it's basically telling us, okay, there's a crossover. Like for example, up here, it would be a crossover at this point that we'd be looking to as a guide to tell you that yes, this is a good entry to the downside. So that's basically what those indicators help us to do. Okay, so so that was the auto wave calc that I just spoke about. There's an example of it on the chart, and yeah, you saw how that works. So that's got the indicators on there as well. The MACD is on there, and the EMAs are on. So that's basically how it would look, and the auto wave calculator automatically calculates that top 1, 2, 3 and gives you your targets down to the level, to those current levels. And of course, in that chart wasn't complete at that time, but those are the kind of targets that you would be looking to reach. Okay, so what I found in the last month here was the U.S. dollar. We've been using the U.S. dollar as a guide with the Euro USD, and we noticed that it correlated negatively to the U.S. dollar. So I did not didn't think much of it at first. You know, we had it on our charts. We were looking at it, but it didn't really hit me at all that this index, this U.S. dollar index, was so powerful in that it gave us basically a glimpse into what was going to happen with the major pairs. And so any pair that has USD in it is basically dependent on this U.S. dollar index. So I realized if I could identify where the U.S. dollar index was going, you know, and the key thing here was if I could identify where the U.S. dollar has been and is going to go to, then it would help me on with the 6 major pairs to know what they were going to do as well. And so I thought, okay, let me put this thing to a test, and I started to experiment with it and found that it worked out perfectly. There was lots of, when the U.S. dollar was strong, you know, any pair that started with USD was also strong. I mean, they're not going to all be perfectly strong, but I think there are 3 major pairs there, US CAD, US Swiss, and US Japanese yen. When those pairs are strong, when that means the US dollar is strong. When the US dollar is weak, then those pairs are going to be weak. And it just seemed to make sense. So I decided to test this out using our 1, 2, 3, and it has worked out phenomenally. I've just had really good results. And I think some of the members in the lounge are starting to see that this actually works as well. And what it really does, in effect, is help us to cut down on the number of pairs that you have to look at. I was going through 28 pairs every day, you know, 2 or 3 times a day just to kind of see what's going on, and it's exhausting, as you all know. So just doing this, looking at the U.S. dollar index, and okay, we know, okay, the U.S. dollar is weak currently. Oh, this is great. So then we just have to look at the major pairs, the Aussie, the Euro, GBP, and so on, and say, okay, since the U.S. dollar is weak, well, we're just looking for 1, 2, 3 bottoms, and we're looking for 1, 2, 3 tops where the pair starts with a USD. And it just makes it so much easier. And you could add a few other, you know, there's other pairs that go with the U.S. dollar if you'd like to play them. But the 6 major pairs is plenty. So Yeah, so that's basically what I've found, and you'll see some of the results of that coming up.
Okay, George Pitcher is, thanks Lennox, great presentation. And now George Pitcher is going to get into some of the S123 membership benefits. And take it away, George.
Hello, everyone. I hope training has been going well. The 123 system, we've added on quite a few things since its inception. When we started off, we had the standalone wave calculator that Lennox has developed, and he still uses it today. Peter swears by it for using it in his stocks, etc. But over the course of a year, we've added a lot of things. We have, which he has shown you in some of the charts. We have the wave calculator now in MT4. We have email alerts that we send out. Lennox does a weekly playbook, which actually goes over the major pairs that are showing strength at the beginning of the week. A big thing that we added in February is our trading lounge. This has been a phenomenal success because members get an opportunity to ask questions of fellow members and of Lennox, myself, and Peter, and they get comments, and they get a chance to comment on their charts and compare setups that they are making up. And everybody knows that trading can be a lonely job, so this is kind of a place where you can share your thoughts and talk to others about it, and there's a lot of good communication that goes on here. In May, we added a currency strength indicator, which, as it says, it shows which currencies are the strongest and which ones are the weakest. And based upon that, you can pick out the pairs that are showing the most momentum. And now in July, we added a customizable news indicator with alerts. Now this has been great. The way I use it is I just selected the red news, which is the hottest news items, and they will show up on your chart. There's a vertical line that shows up that it'll tell you when that news is going to break, and it'll alert you a half an hour before, so that if you're in a trade, you have an opportunity to get out before the news hits. And this has been a real important asset to keep you on top of your gains before the news hits. Okay, finally, we've added a lot of, we've added the dollar index as the last thing that has just been added in this month. And that is an MT4 chart so that you can post it on your MT4 against the U.S. currencies, and you can see it, especially if you take something like the euro, which is really the dollar index is made up of over 50% of the euro. So it's going in the opposite direction of the euro. So knowing which way one is going, you know which way the other is going. It's very valuable. And finally, now we go over to our resource area, and here's where we have our whole library of things that is available to everybody that signs up with us. We have a complete video course on the 123 method. We have a library of real trade recaps, a huge library. You can go over the weekly playbooks since we've started them earlier in the year. We have a library of the weekly webinars where we go over and train people on the stuff. We have a huge selection of the Elliott wave tutorials. Now, the 123 system, while we don't talk about Elliott waves, people know that it's actually an indication of the Elliott waves that are on the charts. So people that want to learn more about that have an opportunity to. Now, in addition, we have, for example, the MACD is on the chart, and we have videos on showing how to use MACD divergence to assist you in your trading, how you can use fractals to assist you in your trading, and money management, of course, is an extremely important aspect of trading, and we have information on that. Now, another big thing that we have found is that a lot of people are taking advantage of our private coaching. And this is where you'll have 2 or 3 of us helping you and resolve your trading problems. Now, when we set up these, we tailor them to whatever your criteria is. So you can communicate with us and let us know what you want to study and learn something about, and we'll go over that with you. It's been a very, very valuable tool for a lot of people. Then finally, we have a lot of member testimonials. And we have a long list of satisfied members. And many of these members are now using Lennox's method exclusively in their trading. And we have some people in the room that are just making pips hand over fist using this method. They really love it. A lot of people that are actually very good traders, when they found Lennox's method, they said, boy, this is the greatest thing since sliced cheese, because it has really helped them in their trading. And one of the other advantages of it, it gives you your targets that you're shooting for. And a lot of people would get out quite early, and this shows you to stay the course, and take advantage of the profits that are there. So our members are teaching the methods. We have one member that's actually teaching the methods to his own kids. And in a way, that's a lot easier because they haven't established many of the bad habits that people like myself have established over the years and have trouble getting rid of. And one member says he's been able to manage many trades, as many as 6, 7 trades, and still post to the lounge and help out others out. Because it's shown him how to be patient with his trades, and using the higher time frames it's a little bit easier to work with. You're not in and out of a trade in 2 or 3 minutes, this type of thing, as if you're scalping. So it's been a beauty of a proven system, and it works, and it helps you undo your poor habits and replace them with the simple 1, 2, 3 concepts. Now, that's pretty much it, and I'd like to turn the system back over to Peter, and he'll tell you how you can get this system.
George, thank you very much, and thanks again, Lennox. And I'm sure our audience members are wondering how they too can trade like Lennox. I love the 1, 2, 3 system. I use it not only for the Forex, but I also use it for stocks. You can use it actually for anything that moves, any asset class. It has improved my trading immensely, including my stock trading. I find with my stock trading, I'm looking for one specific pattern, and that's a 1, 2, 3 pattern. Whereas before, I was looking for a number of different indications. But right now, I look for 1, 2, 3s. I look for the EMA cross that Lennox talks about. I look for the MACD cross. And it's a good filter for me because I can then zero in on the stocks that I want to trade. And of course, like I said before, I love it for the Forex as well. The thing I like most about this system is the calculator. That's the thing that really caught my eye from day one in working with Lennox. The reason I like it is because it tells you where to get off the trade. And correspondingly, it lets you know how many pips you're going to derive. So we're not only talking about Lennox's 123 system, we're talking about the calculator, we're talking about the coaching and mentoring that he and Lennox provide in the chat room, we're talking about the news alerts that George has programmed, which is incredible. That enables you to know when news is headed your way and to trade accordingly. George has programmed alerts to let you know about trading opportunities. Of course, we have regular webinars every Wednesday that you can attend. We have tons of support. There are a number of us here dedicated to providing you with ongoing support for this system. And of course, perhaps one of the best features of the system is the chat room that we've set up, because you can get in there and be with like-minded traders who are all trading the same way, using the same system, the same calculator. You can talk it up, you can share trades, you can show your trading results, you can ask questions. We've discovered quite a few members who are using Lennox's S123 system and calculator very successfully. It's improved their trading results remarkably. And I've had a similar experience with my own trading. Like I said before, a team of wild mules couldn't pull that calculator away from me. So the question is, how can you be like Lennox? And so to that end, I pleaded with my business partner, Vic Young, great guy, without whom we wouldn't be offering this to you. And I said, look, is there any way that we can make this system and all of its associated benefits available to our members at a reasonable offer that they can afford? So he sharpened his pencil, and I think he's come up with a really good offer for you today. And for this webinar, he set it up so that you have a couple options here, $99 for the first month, $99 thereafter. This is a limited time offer for the next 48 hours. Or you can actually ramp it up to the 6-month prepay option, which is $497 for 6 months. That's a whopping 28% off the regular price. Now, the link is at the bottom of your screen, www.forexmentor.com/123/join.php. That's a real mouthful. Please make note of that. Type it into your browser and go there as quickly as you can, because on the following screen, I'm going to show you how the first 7 people are going to benefit even beyond these incredible prices that we're showing you. I'll leave this on the screen just long enough for you to make note of that link, type it into your browser, and go there just as quickly as you can, please. This is a limited time offer. Now, for the first 7 signups today, the first 7 people to sign up today are going to have the luxury of working with Lennox one-on-one, looking over Lennox's shoulder as he looks at charts, looking for 1-2-3s. He'll show you where he puts his trade on, the stops he uses, his profit projections. You can actually peek into Lennox's mind to see how he thinks when he trades. Lennox is perhaps one of the best traders I've ever come across. Absolutely fearless. And part of the reason he's fearless is because he knows what he's doing. He knows what he's looking for. He sticks to a very simple 1-2-3 system. The thing I like about his system is it's improved my stock trading immensely, because I only look for 1-2-3s now. It means I can scan through a myriad of stocks. I'm only looking for 1-2-3s. And of course, then I zero in on the EMAs and MACD and Bob's Your Uncle. So the first 7 signups get to work with Lennox in a session to be determined once we know who the 7 signups are. Again, if you missed the link is at the bottom of your screen. Please make note of it, type it into your browser, and check it out, and we hope to see you join. Don't forget that when you become a member, you can participate in the chat room and you can join up with like-minded traders who are using the same system, and you have a whole bunch of people who can answer questions for you, help you, work with you, share trades, and so on and so forth. It's turning out to be a really great feature of this service. Don't forget the news alerts, the regular alerts, the webinars, and all of the support that is provided by the S123 team. Now, if you're looking for a complicated way to trade, that's not what we're talking about today. We're offering you perhaps the simplest way to trade that we've ever offered at forexmentor.com. It is the 1-2-3 system. We're only looking for 1-2-3 tops and bottoms. There's the website, www.forexmentor.com/123, and there is the Twitter information. There's the team at the bottom of your screen. The registration screen, in case you missed it, and hopefully you are one of the first 7 to sign up so that you can work with Lennox during a scheduled time. And this is a real neat feature because, as I said before, Lennox is one of the best traders I've ever come across. He's absolutely fearless. He has a system that he swears by, that he uses. He doesn't deviate from it. He's not looking for a whole bunch of different indicators. He's only looking for one thing, and that's 1-2-3 tops and bottoms. And he can help you see these 1-2-3 tops and bottoms, and he can help you understand how he executes his trade, where he places his stops, how he evaluates his exit points, and so on and so forth. One of the interesting things is people always agitate over, well, where do I place my stop? Well, Hugh will talk about that. And people want to know, well, where do I get into the trade? Do I get on a break of the 1-2-3 on a buy stop or sell stop, or do I get in at market? And he has a very unique strategy of actually getting in on specific price points based on retracements, and he's going to talk all about that. So you want to be one of the first 7 to sign up, and there again is the link at the bottom of your screen. On that note, we're going to open it up to any questions you may have. We've been answering questions on the fly in the screen on your monitor. If there are any last-minute questions or comments or suggestions, please get them in. Don't be bashful. We're here for you. There's no such thing as a stupid comment or question.
We have a question. Someone asked if we would like to see a live trade. Lennox, would you like to take a look at something like, no, I don't know, USD
Yeah, okay. Okay, so let me take control again, and I'll just go, we'll see what's setting up. I haven't been, of course, looking at any charts because of the webinar here, so let's just see what's setting up.
Take a look at the USD Swissy. The train has left the station on the first one, but I think the second one is setting up on the 1 hour.
Okay, so this is my screen. Is what my screen looks like. I only have the major pairs, and when I do want to look at something specifically, I will grab it and bring it down. So this one was what I was just showing you earlier, so I'll kill that. So I have the Euro CAD, for instance, that I was looking to play. Yeah, this is a good example of one. I'll just go over what I went over with you there, George, earlier. Okay, although no, that maybe I shouldn't, because this was just this is gone. I had an opportunity last night, and
the other one is setting up now, I think.
Yeah. So USD Swiss, you're saying, okay, all right. So let's take a look at USD Swiss. So what I basically do, I always start off on the monthly time frame just to get an overall feel for what's going on with the chart. This indicator over here gives me a monthly view, a weekly view, a daily view, and an hourly, a 4-hour view of what's going on in the charts. So I don't have to go this way. I can just look at a glance and look at these. The indicator down here, this is all George's program. The indicator down here gives me a quick synopsis of what's going on the month on each of the time frames. Blue indicates going up, and yellow is neutral, red is down. So it's telling me right now that on the lower time frames, hourly down, everything is in a downtrend. So that's a quick way to look at it. There's my MACD indicator, PPO, MACD are basically the same, and we're just basically looking for the crosses. That's the key thing for us. It's just looking at where they cross. The same thing with the EMAs. We're just looking for where they cross. So to find the trade, again, I start off with the monthly. I see what the overall pattern is. I see what the overall trend is, and that's the key. I'm looking for the trend. Then on the weekly, again, I'm looking at the current trend, and that's what basically tells me, the crosses tell me what the overall trend is. And I can also put the 55 EMA on. That kind of gives us a gauge on a long-term trend, but it's not necessary. So now, again, nothing on this chart here is necessary. The only thing really you need are the bars, but we use the EMAs and the MACD just for confirmation. So I go to the daily chart, so I can see that my trend overall is down. So what I've been looking for is either tops, 1, 2, 3 tops, because the overall trend is down, or a turning point where we're looking for 1, 2, 3 bottoms. So we're either in the middle of a move in a downtrend, or at the bottom of a move, at the end of a move in a downtrend, or at the top of a move in an uptrend. So that's basically what we're looking for. On the 4-hour time frame, I would come down and kind of see what's going on. So again, we were in a downtrend, but now the trend has changed to the upside. So that tells me right away that I should have a 1, 2, 3 bottom. And we have a cross, which we call the golden cross when it's going up, and we call it a death cross when it's going down. So once we see that cross, and then this is based on our alerts. We get our alerts that's sent to us by email on the hour. We have 2, 3, 5 alerts that tell us, oh, USD Swiss on the 4-hour time frame has a golden cross and is going up. So this will be one that you would get an alert for, and you could then look at it and decide whether you want to take that trade. And it's as simple as that. So on the hourly time frame, so on this 4-hour time frame, we can see that pattern. So if I would come down to the 1-hour time frame to see it a little more clearly, and again, we have crosses on the MACD, and we have cross here on the EMAs. So again, it's telling us that this is a good setup overall. And so with this, then you just basically use your calculator, which is right there. I could use the auto one. The auto one would pick it up automatically and put the numbers in for us, the targets and so forth. But the manual one is good. You can do it manually, and we recommend that you use the manual one in the beginning so you get used to how it all works. And then it gives me a target to shoot for, and we recommend the middle or the yellow target when you take a trade. So on this 1-hour time frame, had you spotted this 1, 2, 3, and you were able to get in, we use the retracements for entry. And so with the retracements, you would be able to make a decision as to whether you want to get in at 38%, 50%, 62%, and so on. I kind of recommend 50% area, but sometimes you might miss it. And if you do miss it, it's not the end of the world. You can always get back in. If you miss, say we said 50%, it didn't come down to 50%, so we're gonna drop down to a lower level. So we drop down to the 15-minute chart, and in that case, you see that you have an opportunity. Since you missed an entry in here, you have another opportunity at this level to get in, because again, there is a 1, 2, 3 there as well. So you can use your calculator again, even at this smaller level, to get your retracements, and you can then make a 50% retracement entry limit or by limit order to take advantage of this move. So that's basically how you can do it. So right now on this particular chart, there isn't a setup to enter into. It's already left, like George said originally. This trade is already left the station. We call it a train. Basically, the trade is like a train. You want to get in the train at the station, and then you want to take the ride up to the next station, which is your exit point. If you're trying to catch the train after it's left the station, it's very difficult, and you're going to get little profit. The profit area is between number 1 and number 2. This is where you want to get into the onto the train, ideally. And yeah, so for this particular setup at this moment, there isn't one. So you would just go look for another trade because there isn't a setup currently that would give you any profits. So if there's a specific chart that anyone wants me to look at really quickly, I can do that. Besides the USD Swiss, if there's someone, any other questions, comments? John?
What about the GBPUSD, Lennox?
Okay, GBPUSD. Okay, I've been battling this one for the past week or so in the Dukas account, and had some success, and then had some. Last night I got stopped out because of that big red bar there. I'll go down to the 1 hour just to show you. So last night things were looking good. 1, 2, 3 bottom, 1, 2, 3 bottom. I jumped in, put my stop below this level, and woke up this morning to find that this bar. I guess this was some kind of news that came out last night, because this was very odd, and it took me out here. So the one thing just to let you all know, the system really works well. However, these kind of things happen. You know, you're going to get stopped out. So we put our stops in. We make sure that if you do lose, your loss is very small. And when you do win, you go for the gusto and go to your targets. That's the whole key to the system. And you try to take the emotion out of it. Yes, you're going to lose. This is all part of the game. But if you follow the system and stick to it, and once you get used to it, you understand that once you get into a trade, once you see a nice 1, 2, 3 with a golden cross like this setup here, and I'll show you a good example, because this I traded and made some profits from here. Again, I was trying to get this breakout last night. It was working nice. I was up very nicely before I went to sleep and thought, okay, I'm good. This should go. But unfortunately, this bar took me out. So you get a 1, 2, 3 like this. You get in at a 50% retracement. That's perfect. You get in and you go up to any of these targets, that, you know, whatever you feel comfortable. You're going to make some nice pips. And that's basically how the system works. So on the GBPUSD currently, is there a 1, 2, 3? There, it looks like it would. I mean, again, we always try to look at it from the top down, but from going on to the daily time frame, we have a 1, 2, 3 here with a golden cross. So this is telling us that right now we're in a third wave in Elliott wave terms. We're in a third wave. So this is a really good opportunity if you can get into this trade, because if I put in the wave calculator here, you'll see where targets are going to be, and targets are a ways up. So if I were to just even from here go to the middle target, we're looking at over 200 pips. So there's still opportunities here to make some nice pips, and you can see where previous resistance areas across here. So we're right in that resistance area where targets are. So going back to the 1 hour time frame, if we can get a 1, 2, 3 bottom here, and the key to this is to make sure that we have our golden cross and the golden cross on the MACD. Right now, neither of them are doing that, so you would have to patiently wait that out, and that's the key to the whole game. You want to wait out your golden cross on the MACD. We see here we had the MACD, which came before the EMA cross, and that's what usually is the case. The MACD will give us a heads up that there's an opportunity setting up, and then the EMAs will confirm that setup. And so right now the MACD is not giving us that confirmation, and neither are the EMAs, so you have to be patient and wait this out. But it looks very good for a continuation of this move to the upside. And then again, the key to that is the US dollar index, and here I am on the 15-minute chart looking at it. But if I go to the daily, the US dollar index right now is in a downtrend, and it's been very weak. And so since that is weak, then what we want to be looking at is anything with US dollar as the first then that would be, or the US dollar is the base currency, then that means that that's going down, and all the other ones would be going up. So the US dollar index is showing us again currently that it's in a weak state. So we want to try to take advantage of that.
Can you go back, Lennox? Can you go back to the GBPUSD, that chart where, yeah, that chart there? What I see is MACD is neutralized back to the waterline, which means we're getting ready for a move up in price.
Yes, and again, we just need to wait for that confirmation of MACD crossing and EMA crossing, and then this would be a good play. You can then, I mean, if you felt strongly enough, at this point, and if I can do this properly, if you felt strongly enough at this point to, you think, okay, you're dead right, this is going to be going up, then you can certainly throw in your 1, 2, 3 and make an entry at this point and put your stop below, the bar here, and take that trade. So it's up to you. Again, we tried to guide you to wait, to be patient, wait out the crosses, and get that confirmation before you enter. So that's one trade there. I've yet to look at the other pairs and so forth, so I haven't really had a chance at this time to do that. So I'll be doing that a little later on. So anybody, any comments, any questions, is there a specific pair anyone would like me to look at?
None have come up so far. I've been answering some other questions.
I mean, I even have Bitcoin here. So Bitcoin, for instance, if you like Bitcoin or any of those what we call these coins. Sorry.
Exotics.
The exotics or the Bitcoin, one of those.
Cryptocurrency.
The digital coin, yeah, cryptos. Yeah, anyone likes those crypto, because there's a lot of cryptos. I noticed here they've got Litecoin and all kinds of stuff. So any of those, they're all against the U.S. dollar. So if you like those kind of currencies, you can trade any of them by knowing exactly what the U.S. dollar index is doing. So if the U.S. dollar index is going down, then this is going down, and vice versa. So that's one of the things. So I have it there. I like the Bitcoin. And I kind of watch it to see what's going on. Same thing with USD Mexican. That's one of the exotics, and it's doing the same thing as the US dollar. The US dollar has been down, and this has been down, and that's, it holds out. We look at the Euro US. The Euro US has been going up, and the US dollar has been going down. And when I have a page here that shows the relationship between the US dollar, the Euro USD, and the US dollar. So there's the US dollar. It's been in a downtrend, and the Euro has been in an uptrend. And so they're negatively correlated. So that's, and then if I have the US dollar and the Canadian, and the US dollar and the US dollar Canadian dollar pair, and these are correlated in the sense that if this one's going down, this one's going down, and vice versa. So it's really nice. The U.S. dollar index has been very powerful, and once you can gauge what this U.S. dollar is doing, then I have 6, 7, 8 different currencies that I can jump into. And George, the other day, for instance, I believe it was a Monday. I think you had 3 or 4 of them that you were in at one time and made profits on all 4.
I think I had 5 of them at once.
Oh, there you go, 5. So better man than me, George, because I'm used to sticking to 1 or 2.
We have a question from Carolyn. Would you take a look at Audi JPY on the daily chart, Lennox?
Okay, Aussie JPY on the daily. Okay, so that's
Aussie.
Okay, so that's not one of the pairs I have. So let me just bring that up. Okay, so here's a clean slate, except for all I have here is the MACD. So Okay, I haven't looked at this pair for a while. So again, here's how I would look at it. All I have is the MACD. I don't have the EMAs. So I would, again, look at what overall, what the chart is saying on the monthly is in, basically has been in a downtrend overall. It has formed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 waves up and then A, B, C. So this looks like a huge 1, 2, or 1, 2, 3. So this whole thing here. So we should be looking for movement out and up is what I'll be looking at here. So on the weekly, this is what's happening now. We're starting to pull out of this move to the upside. On the daily, this is what's going on. We're pushing out from this 5 wave. We have 5 waves down, and this is what it's doing. It's pushing out. On the 4-hour time frame, we have a 1, 2, 3 bottom here that's taking us up to this level. And then there's another 1, 2, 3 in here, but you can't see it at this level. You have to drop down to a lower time frame to really see this cleanly. So this is giving us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 waves. So it looks like this is going to finish. We're at the end of this move. So at this point here, which is previous resistance area, we're going to see this peter out and no pun intended there, Peter, and then
No problem.
roll over at this point. And you can see MACD, which is a really good indicator, is telling us that story as well. So if I were to switch my template over to this one, okay, so here I have the EMAs. So there's the EMA crosses. MACD is moving up and is just about to cross. This one is moved up and it's starting to turn. So we're at the end of this move, so we should expect this to fall. So on a 1-hour time frame, you can see how we're starting to turn. On the MACD, we're already crossed and turned. So I'd be looking now for a 1, 2, 3 top in order to continue this trend to the downside. But we have to wait out the confirmation of that by the EMAs crossing. This is the 55 EMA. I think that is. No, that's a 233 EMA. So this is a longer term EMA. So we are below it. Price is above it. So of course the trend is up. But at this point here, we're looking to turn to the downside.
Yeah,
So
MACD, that's reflected in MACD.
Yes, and MACD is also turning to the downside. So for this particular chart, there wouldn't be a play at this moment in time, but perhaps drop down to the 15-minute chart. We could expect perhaps one more little push up by this point, because we do have a 1, 2, 3 here. So this is how I would look at it. I would use this 1, 2, 3 here. That would give me targets that would probably take us up to the previous support that we saw. And that's what it's showing. So we're in this move here. We're going to probably take a little move up, and then we'll be finished and we'll be rolling over. So I'd be looking for 1, 2, 3 tops on this particular pair.
Okay, sports fans, there is the offer that we were talking about before Lennox gave us that excellent presentation. On that note, we would like to thank you for taking the time to be with us. We don't take your time for granted. We really hope that you sign up. We'd like to see you in the lounge where you can participate with like-minded members who are all learning the 1, 2, 3 system. You can help each other. It's turning out to be quite a success. We have quite a few members in there who are making some serious coin using the 1, 2, 3 system. I'd like to thank Lennox and George for excellent presentations today. And again, I'd like to thank you all for participating. This is Peter Bain, co-founder of ForexMentor.com. Thanks again for your attendance, and we hope to see you in the trading lounge. Have yourself a great day, and bye for now.